When you think of Antarctica, what comes to mind? Probably a huge empty continent of ice, right? But what if I told you there are ancient maps that show it as green and lush? Or that there are records of a secret US military invasion? And even satellite images of pyramids that are way, way bigger than the ones in Giza? The sources we're digging into today suggest Antarctica isn't just a continent of ice. It's a continent of secrets. And all of it leads to one huge question. Yeah, why is this place, literally the most remote spot on Earth, so heavily restricted? The materials we're breaking down today argue that the official story we're all told, well, it's just the tip of the iceberg. The real truth, they say, is buried deep, deep beneath all that ice. So let's just look at the claims for a second. First off, getting there as a regular person is unbelievably difficult. You need permission from dozens of different countries. And yet, at the exact same time, it's reported that US military cargo planes are landing there pretty much every single day. And here's a weird one. If you go look on Google Earth, you'll find these huge areas and what look like structures that are just blurred out, intentionally hidden. It's this place that we're told is empty, but it seems to be watched like a hawk. Now here's where it gets really interesting. This whole mystery doesn't start with modern tech like satellites. Nope, it goes back centuries to a map that by all accounts just shouldn't exist. This timeline really puts it all into perspective. So back in 1929, a German theologian finds this incredible map tucked away in a Turkish library. It was made way back in 1513 by an Ottoman admiral, a guy named Piri Reis. And the absolutely shocking part is what it shows, a detailed coastline of Antarctica, more than 300 years before the continent was even officially discovered in 1820. I mean, how is that even possible? And here is the real puzzle. The Piri Reis map doesn't just show the landmass. It supposedly shows an Antarctica that is green, lush, and teeming with life. But today, that exact same land is buried under more than a kilometer of solid ice. So which is it? Was it just a cartographer's wild imagination? Or is this a real glimpse into a forgotten history, a paradise that was somehow mysteriously frozen solid? Okay, so this ancient mystery just explodes into the 20th century with one of the weirdest military expeditions in all of US history, Operation High Jump. And trust me, the official story they gave for this one, it just doesn't add up. All right, get this. In 1946, right after World War II ended, the US didn't send a little team of scientists to Antarctica. No, they sent a massive military task force of 4,700 soldiers. Just let that sink in for a minute. Nearly 5,000 troops sent to what we're told is an empty, uninhabited continent of ice. And they didn't just hop on some transport ships. They went with a full-on naval armada, 13 warships, including a gigantic aircraft carrier and multiple submarines. The sources we're looking at argue this wasn't some friendly exploration mission. This was equipped like a full-blown invasion force. And to complete this picture of just overwhelming force, they brought 33 military aircraft with them. So you've got thousands of troops, a naval fleet, and an entire air force sent to the South Pole for a mission that was supposed to last 8 months. But they didn't even come close. Something went terribly, terribly wrong. The entire operation was just canceled. Abruptly. It ended a full 6 months ahead of schedule. The official line was that the weather was just too harsh. But they came back with 4 dead soldiers and 2 of their aircraft completely lost. So why the sudden retreat? Well, the commander of the whole operation, the highly decorated Admiral Richard Byrd, gave a really chilling interview when he got back. He actually told a reporter that it was imperative for the US to start preparing for a war against an enemy that could fly from pole to pole in minutes. He described seeing these craft moving at unbelievable speeds. Who was this enemy? Well, after this interview, Byrd was reportedly silenced by the authorities, and he never, ever spoke of it again. So the whole story goes cold for decades, until we get into the age of satellite imagery, which reveals something that looks completely impossible, structures that seem to defy both history and geology. In just the last few years, satellite photos have shown what looks for all the world like a massive, 4-sided pyramid sticking out of the ice. And just look at this comparison here on the slide. The Great Pyramid of Giza, one of the wonders of the ancient world, is about 480 feet tall. This thing in Antarctica, it's estimated to be nearly 4,000 feet tall, with a base that's 2 kilometers on each side. If this thing is man-made, it absolutely dwarfs anything ever built by humans. So, what's the official story? Well, scientists claim this is simply something called a nunatak. It's basically a natural mountain peak that's been shaped over millions of years by wind and ice erosion to, just happen to look like a pyramid. But that just raises a huge question, doesn't it? Is it really just a coincidence that this natural formation has four sides of apparently equal length and perfect geometric angles? Or is this proof of some long-lost civilization buried deep under the ice, just like that Piri Rice map seemed to suggest? All of this leads us to the final piece of the puzzle. Who is making sure these secrets stay buried? Well, the answer seems to lie in a very unique international agreement. Back in 1959, right in the middle of the Cold War, the world's most powerful countries all came together to sign the Antarctic Treaty. On the surface, it sounds great. It declared the continent a scientific preserve, totally off limits to any military activity. But according to the source material, there's a huge catch. A rule that says any scientific findings from the continent are to be classified and not shared with the public. Today, 56 nations are part of this deal, enforcing what some people call a global code of silence. And this control might go back even further. People who believe this theory point to a place called Rothschild Island. It was discovered way back in 1908 by an expedition that was sponsored by, you guessed it, the powerful Rothschild banking family. They argued this just shows that the world's most powerful elites have had a special interest in Antarctica long before it was ever sealed off from the rest of us. So, after looking at the ancient maps, the secret military operations, these impossible pyramids, and the global treaties keeping everything under wraps, we have to ask the final question. What is really being hidden down there? The sources we've looked at offer some pretty incredible theories. Could it be home to advanced alien bases? I mean, that would explain what Admiral Byrd saw. Or is it the location of a secret Nazi stronghold, Base 211, that survived World War II? Or maybe the truth is something more supernatural. A hidden city of Jinn, the throne of the devil, or even the prison of the Antichrist, the Dajjal. I mean, these are the wild, forbidden questions that just naturally pop up when you connect all these strange dots. Without any real transparency from the powers that control the South Pole, all we're left with are theories, weird satellite images, and a deep, cold mystery. So I'll just leave you with this. What do you believe is the truth that lies beneath all that ice?